Yes, I'm a little bit late. We've broken through the 2 million. We've got the new stretch goals. We're going to get some new sculpts. We're going to get some new quests, potentially. I think we will smash further through. But what I'm interested in now, the unlocks for additional characters. And one of the things that I posted, in, I believe, last week's HeroQuest vlog was the idea that, for me, the replayability, if we're really looking at HeroQuest, and it is a little bit limited in that you have a dungeon master, game master, overlord, necromancer, evil wizard, Zargon, Morcar, whatever we're going to call them, playing against the players. So once you go through the missions and you kind of have that discovery and know what it is, well, look, I know the gargoyle's in the center room. I probably shouldn't have said that. Slight spoiler. But if I know that that's in the center of the room, then once we've played it, now it becomes, if you play that mission again, maybe the game master controls the monster a little bit differently, or they play the tactica a little bit differently. Yes, you can download different missions. Fan community is amazing with the content. There's a couple of randomizer dungeons out there. But the real replayability comes with saying, let me make a new team. Let me make a new group of heroes. Let me make new characters. And nothing stops you from homebrewing or bringing in your own miniatures. Certainly with HeroQuest, or this is really true with any game, if you want to move in that direction. And many, many people are creative in doing that. But it's nice to have multiple heroes. It's nice to have lots of different heroes to explore the different missions with. So that's why I was really, really interested in getting as many heroes as we can gobble up as the offerings continue, as the campaign moves forward. I was also interested because the big rule, and this has been true playing Dungeons & Dragons, this has been true playing war games, Wings of Glory, Battletech, Warhammer 40K, this has been true in board gaming. If you want to play, everybody has a place at my table. You walk into the store, the club, and you're kind of curious, you're looking for a game. You know what? The community has been amazing to me over the years, and I wouldn't be where I am with so many amazing memories and great tactica without my friends, without you on YouTube, without my channel supporters. So that carries over, and that's made a big impression on me. I want everyone to sit down and play. Even if, I only have 30 minutes, I've never done this board game thing before, pick a character, you're going into the dungeon. We're going to make it happen. So by having more characters, I am ready to break the rules in the moment. If the game is limited to 4 heroes or something like Zombicide, 6 actors, we're going to blow that up to 8. We're going to blow that up to 10. I've played Talisman with 18 people before. I mean, we've done it. Everyone has a place. So from that perspective, I am really, really, really interested in having beyond just the base 4, so let's do a big game. Let's do 2 parties. Let's do whatever crazy stuff we can. That's why I appreciate the unlocks. So I'm very, very happy with how things are moving. The question I posed to you, and I'm catching up a little bit right now, I don't think there's anything beyond the unlocks that they have right now. I think they've really analyzed the campaign. They've crunched the numbers. They've done the secret sauce and calculations and everything. I think that's as far as they think they would possibly be able to go. I don't think there's going to be another expansion. I don't think we're going to get anything further. I haven't seen any of the designer type notes. But I have to say, shipping is still a little bit high, but okay, if they're going to ship it in a padded box and it's really, really strong and it's got foam, and I understand all that, that's fine. But I have to say, adjusted for inflation, and you guys can comment on this, adjusted for inflation and the price of materials and the fact that if you go in under Legendary, you're getting 2 expansions, you're getting stretch goals, you're getting unlocks. The price is, I think, in line with other types of board games and how that's operating. So I don't think it's that over the top. The question is, will it be a little bit less in retail? Probably, but then you're not going to have those exclusives, or you've got to hit up for eBay. All right, do we need to balance it out with a critique, with a criticism? Because one of the things that I've noticed in this hobby is it's awesome to play games. it's awesome to talk tactica about games, but it's equally awesome to complain about games. So I'll have to balance it out with a complaint here. What I see is the duality of the old school, hardcore HeroQuest fans, and I'll put myself in there. You know, if I'm going to call it out for what it is, I'll put myself in that, where you were that kid playing in the 90s, literally last century, get with it. Here we are in 2020. And those formative years locked you in. You know, I see this with Dungeons and Dragons, where the edition that you started your D&D experience, that is very formative. It's like your first car. It's like your first big vacation. That shapes everything with how you view it. So if you came in old school AD&D, that's how you see D&D. If you're coming in with, you know, current D&D 5, that's how you come in. So I think it is somewhat of a shock for the older HeroQuest players to look and seeing these characters and asking, like, the Druid? Druid doesn't fit in a dungeon. Why would a Druid be in a dungeon? Well, maybe lots of reasons. They'll look and say, okay, the bard makes sense, but like it's an orc bard. Like orcs are bad in the HeroQuest world. And what was interesting was I'm not that impressed by, I know they're renders. I'm not that impressed by the sculpts. And I know they redid the Druid. It just looks like, it looks like a yoga person in spandex. Like it just, even with the update, it still looks very D&D-esque. Now, I'm not talking about going back to like Games Workshop, Grimdark, 90s HeroQuest. We're getting a refresh. I want a refresh. And again, remember, I'm coming from the old school 90s HeroQuest camp. I have that edition. We have that edition. We can play that edition. I want the refresh. I want the update. I want the re-imaging and the revisioning. I think that's important. I just don't want a one-for-one reprint. But I'd like to see it. And it makes sense because these designers, the talents that they have are filtered through designing sculpts and characters and art for Dungeons and Dragons. And the current incarnation of Dungeons and Dragons is vastly different than its original DNA and incarnation with, D&D Redbox, Chainmail, and AD&D. So that art visual is filtered through a certain look that's kind of, well, we'll just leave it at that. A certain kind of look that pushes it where I see that influence, where it looks like the stretch goal characters look a little out of place, I guess, if I had to have a complaint, where they've updated the core characters to have this kind of still HeroQuest dungeon-esque feel, and now it's literally like we're stepping through a time portal and pulling in some kind of generic D&D characters. I'd like to see the talents of these artists, which go way beyond myself, to really create something they want to create and try to image that in the HeroQuest format, as opposed to maybe imaging it in the D&D format. We've got enough D&D. I got enough D&D. That would just be, I mean, this is the internet. I need to complain about something. I need to offer that alternate type view. Your thoughts on it, your take, but we broke through. This is good, and I think at this point, it's now just holding on for the rest of the ride. I don't think we're going to get any more with how it's utilized.